Everyone, this is notes number 16. This is going to look very familiar. This is just like notes number 15, but now you're dealing with quadrantal angles that are in radian form. And what you really want to focus in on here is recognizing your quadrantal angles. That's really the big goal here, okay? Understanding what common quadrantal angles are in degrees and in radians. So you want to be quick with recognizing that, okay? So for instance, we had technically five common quadrantal angles. There was 0 degrees, there was 90 degrees, there was 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and then back to 360, which is coterminal to 0, okay? You want to be able to recognize the quadrantal angles, okay? So basically, here's what you need to remember. Remember that 180 degrees is equivalent to 1 pi radian. So when I say pi, that's equivalent to 180 degrees. 1 pi radian is equivalent to 180 degrees. So 360 is really 2 pi radians. And obviously 0 degrees is 0 pi radians, but you don't put the pi there, okay? So logically, if 180 is pi, then 90 is half of it, half of pi. And what you do is you write half of pi as pi over 2. 270 degrees is like 180 degrees plus a 90 degrees. So it's a little bit more than a pi. So it's actually a pi and a half. It's actually 3 pi's over the 2. 3 over 2 is like 1.5. These are the 5 quadrantal angles that you really got to remember. Okay? So you want to be able to make these connections because oftentimes in upper level math, they switch from degrees to radians, radians to degrees, and you want to be flexible with both. So for instance, back in the last lesson, I taught you, well, the sine of 90 degrees, and by now, you shouldn't have to use your calculator. You should have memorized it by now. Sine of 90 degrees is 1. So, same thing, if I ask you what's the sine of pi over 2, in your head, you should know that pi over 2 is equivalent to 90 degrees. So sine of pi over 2 is also 1. So that's really all you're practicing, okay? So if I ask you what's the cosine of pi, in your head, right, this is your thought bubble here, you're thinking, well, pi is the same thing as 180 degrees, and the cosine of 180 is -1. Practice on your memorization here, okay? I usually don't focus too much on memorization, but for these, it just makes things so much easier as we move forward, okay? So here are some for you to try. The sine of 3 pi over 2. Okay, pause there, try it out, and press play when you're ready. Okay, 3 pi over 2 in my head, I know that 3 pi over 2 is the same thing as 270 degrees. And the sine of 270 is -1. Okay? So you had that chart, right, in that last lesson. All you have to do is to line up these, right? This with this. So it's really just a conversion of a unit. It's really nothing new here. So when you guys try delta math, you want to go at your own speed, but accuracy is important first. So focus on accuracy and then focus on speed. We'll do a couple more. This video is going to be very brief, but we're going to do a couple more here, and then you try it out. Cosine of 2 pi. Try that out there. Press play when you're ready. Cosine of 2 pi, well, I know 2 pi is the same thing as 360 degrees. And I know that 360 degrees is the same thing as 0 degrees because they're coterminal. Cosine of 0, I remember, is 1. Okay? And if you have to refer back to that chart, go ahead and do so, but slowly pull away from using that chart and try to memorize it. Okay? Here's another one. What is the sine of pi? Press play when you're ready. The sine of pi, well, I know pi in my head, it's 180 degrees. So the sine of 180, I remember was 0 based on that table. Okay. Let's try 2 more challenging ones and then we're done with this video, okay? What if I gave you the secant of pi? Okay. So in my mind, first of all, pi, 1 pi radian is the same thing as 180 degrees. Secant is related to cosine in that they're reciprocals. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, cosine of 180 is what? All right, here's your beautiful thought bubble. Cosine of 180 is -1. So the reciprocal, if you take the reciprocal of -1 over 1, you coincidentally get -1 again. Okay, let's try another one. Cosecant of 2 pi. Try that one out. Press play when you're ready. Cosecant of 2 pi is the same thing as 360 degrees, which is the same thing as 0 degrees if you want to change it. But cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So I know sine of 360 is 0. So the reciprocal of 0, or 0 over 1, is 1 over 0. But when 0 is under, that means that this is undefined. Okay? It all goes back to that table. Take as much time as you need. Remember, accuracy first and then speed afterwards. But your biggest goal is to connect the degrees to radians. So when I say 180 degrees, you should think about 1 pi radian. When I say 2 pi, you should remember that that's 360 degrees. When I say 3 pi over 2, that's the same thing as 270 degrees, and so on. So this is your big goal here. Being able to switch languages, if you will, from degrees to radians. Okay? Try it out on Delta Math, and then let me know how it goes.